Oh, just a second.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the FPL Banger Show. My name is Siva, and I'm joined again by Sam. And Sam, 2 weeks off, international break. So happy about another international break in November. I mean, give me more of England v Latvia, is what I say, Sam.
It's honestly kind of crazy that we have had two international breaks already this early into the season. Well, what
And we have another one in like 3 more weeks, but
yeah,
we can't complain.
I can complain. We can complain because there's absolutely nothing to do on FPL for these past 2 weeks, and there's only so much stats that we can go through and analysis, and yeah, there's crazy
Yeah,
stuff.
well, you say that, Sam. A lot of stuff happened international break. Cape Verde making their first World Cup.
Mm,
Malaysia doing its level best to get banned from football for the rest of
let's
eternity.
let's not get too deep into that.
We really shouldn't. Um, but Sam, we got to talk about FPL, right? And this week, massive week, right? Massive fixture between two of the heavyweights of English football.
before
Um,
before we go in there, Siva, I kind of want to make this a tradition a bit. So last week we did the whole, who has more FPL points. Let's continue that just very quickly. All right,
okay.
gonna give you 4 sets of players, Siva. You tell me, Dean Henderson or Jordan Pickford, who has more points?
It's got to be Hendo.
No, it's Pickford.
Okay.
Okay, next one, Grealish
Okay.
or Alderete? Alderete?
This is the true question. It's got to be Alderete.
Yeah, but barely by 2 points.
Oh,
Okay, I'll give you
amazing.
another one. Highest picked defender in the game. Van de Ven or Mo Salah.
Wait. What do you mean? You mean highest picked Van de Ven or Mo Salah? Oh, it's got to be Van de Ven. Yeah, it's Van de Ven.
No, it's Mo Salah. But barely by 2 points, which if anyone would tell you that this would be happening, what is it, 8 game weeks into the season, you wouldn't
You mean
believe it.
most? You mean Salah is 2 points more than Van de Ven?
Yeah. Just
Okay.
two
I
puny
gotta say,
points.
as a Salah owner, I'm feeling pretty relieved because I thought it'd be much further behind.
Last one. Okay. Now this one's a bit tricky, I think. Both new signings. We got Big Nick in Newcastle or Eze in Arsenal. Who has more points?
Walter Mata's gotta have more points, surely, because as they didn't even what. I mean, he missed a couple of games. It's got to be Walter Mata.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. Good job, Siva, but just barely, by the way. Only 2 points more than Eze.
Okay. The questions are improving, Sam. I'll give you some credit there. This, you tried to sort of throw me off with your Salah Van de Ven thing. Um, but speaking of Salah, Sam, we got to talk about it, right? Massive game this week, as I was saying. Two giants of English football. Uh, I think everyone will be glued to their screens watching this game. For me, it's like must see, and it is. Of course, I'm talking about Burnley v Leeds and Dominic Calvert-Lewin, Sam. I went away for 2 weeks and logged on to Twitter today, and I made the mistake. You should never log on to FPL Twitter. Like, why am I doing this? Dominic Calvert-Lewin hype train. Years and
That,
years of this
yeah.
man biting us and not delivering and having, hamstring injury after hamstring injury, and people still want more of that. They just can't get enough.
Yeah, I don't know. He's had one goal, right? He blanked for the past 2 weeks, so I don't understand the hype. Are they just going purely on underlying numbers? Because they're decent, honestly. Um, it's weird. I think international break does this to people. You start trying to find your own differentials, trying to find your own diamonds in the rough, and you end up thinking people like Dominic Calvert-Lewin is a good pick. I saw a hype train building up for Sean Longstaff. I don't know if you saw that. 4.9, apparently taking some set pieces, apparently doing decently on DC. I'm like, really? Is this what we're reduced to after 2 weeks of no Premier League football?
You say all this, Sam, but is anyone doing any better? I mean, I own Gyokeres, and he's not even on pens. Like Calvert Lewin has more chances of taking a pen than Gyokeres does for Arsenal. And Sean Longstaff, he's cheap. He's cheap as chips, right? 4.9 mil for a guy who's potential defcons, got some set pieces. And you look at these fixtures: Leeds play Burnley, West Ham, Brighton, Forest, Villa in the next five. That's pretty decent. You can't knock that. It's not like as if, again, I'm spending, as you say, right, 14.4 million on Salah to get 2 points more than Van de Ven. So what are we doing here?
True. It's true. There does seem to be a lack of options in FPL right now. So it's getting very templatey, I feel, because we're all looking at the same 8 or 9 players because they're the only ones who are performing, right?
Pretty much. I mean, we had a question about wildcard draws, which we'll get to, but I think as you go along, you'll see the options are fairly slim, right? Now, I think to just sort of wrap up on Calvert Lewin, because it is very much a case of, do you want to have a 5.5 million forward in your team or not? Because it's not like as if his stats prior to this have any relevance. The sample size is so small. And then beyond that, it's Everton. If you're going back to last season, different team, completely different setup. He was injured for most of it anyway. So I don't think stats here are going to inform anything. If he gets on a good run of form, he's perfectly an acceptable pick. My issue with Calvert Lewin, if you're going to buy him, is just I think you will struggle to know when to play him. I think like he's going to score maybe one in every 5 weeks or one in every 3 weeks. And I think you're going to have an issue of figuring out how to even get those goals. Like it's just going to be fairly random. And like I don't think Burnley is an easy fixture, Burnley away for an attack. I imagine Burnley away is probably it looks ripe for like a 0-0. So I'm just not sure where you play him, and so therefore I feel like you might as well just play 5-4-1 or 4-4-2 or something rather than just having Calvert Lewin at all.
I kind of agree. I mean, I think he can be a decent punt if you're just going purely on fixtures, right? Like Leeds maybe has the best next 5 fixtures in the league. So if you have a plan, like, you're going to play him, start him the next 5 fixtures, and then after that, he goes on your bench and someone else comes in and takes the starting spot in your team. Yeah. If you're planning to rotate him throughout the season, then I kind of agree with you, Siva. It's really hard to predict with this kind of players.
Yeah, I mean, at that price, I would rather just spend. And I appreciate everyone's team is different, so maybe you don't have the transfers to do this, but I would rather just spend a little bit more money and just get Moises Caicedo. Okay. And now hear me out, right? Because Moises Caicedo sounds like a crazy FPL pick. He sounds like the kind of pick that your casual brother will make, like who never watch, who never plays FPL. Just like I pick Kante every season. That's what my brother still does. Okay, and but this season it's a legit strategy, right? Moises Caicedo, he's first of all he's top for defcons. He's almost at 100 defcons. We're not even into game week 8. Okay, he's at 96. He should have hit defcons again the last game against Liverpool. You can see it on the screen. He's got 11 defcons. He's so close, right?
I think 2 games in a row he finished with 11 defcons.
Yeah, so 2 games in a row, 11 defcons, right? Okay. Now these goals are not sustainable. We can say that safely, right? He's not going to keep scoring bangers, okay? And people will stop giving him the space to score bangers. So fair enough, he's not going to score every week. But he looks good for defcons most weeks. And the most important thing is he's nailed. Like he is going to play. So if you are going to spend 5.5 million on Calvert Lewin for 1 goal in 5 weeks, why not just spend 5.8 and get this guy who plays every week, decent chance of getting defcons most weeks, and then the occasional goal or assist here and there.
Are you going to play him every week though? Is that the plan?
You have to. I mean, to make this stick, you got to have to do it.
Yeah, I think the issue now is that I think a lot of people have moved on from Salah. Now, I appreciate if you have Haaland and Salah in your team, then yeah, okay, you may need to go budget on certain things. But most people moved on Salah, I think. And then Palmer's not playing, he's injured. Saka, still a question mark for a lot of people, so not a popular pick yet. Bruno as well. So there's just nowhere to spend your money on. So in a way, there's no need for this kind of, like in previous seasons, he would be a perfect fourth or fifth midfielder, right? But there's no need for one at the moment. Of course, team dependent, right? For your team, maybe you are looking for a 5.5 playing player. But for most people, I would imagine you got so much money in your bank.
Yeah, well, the people who are buying Calvert-Lewin, I mean, this is who I'm looking at, right? Those people, and I'm guessing it's more a question of not having enough transfers to move around. My feeling is you just go Moises Caicedo, or if you're really poor, go get Granit Xhaka. He's 5 million, gets DEFCONs most weeks anyway. Also
I like
nailed,
that.
also
Yeah.
has the occasional assist potential.
Yeah, I have Jaka. So I think if you're on wildcard and you're shuffling your team around and all that, then it's great. But is it really worth a transfer for a player who theoretically, now I might eat my words because he might score every single game from now on, right? But in theory, a player like Caicedo will not be scoring a lot of goals. And you're mostly getting for his consistency, for his DEFCON points. Then in that case, is it worth a transfer when you could make other transfers that have better return?
People are making transfers for DCL this week, man. So I mean,
I guess the idea is that DCL is still a striker, so he could still score, end up with 9 points, 10 points. Like the chances of DCL scoring, in theory, should be higher than Moises Caicedo.
you say that, right? But here's my counterpoint to you, right? If we both agree that Caicedo is going to hit DEFCONs most weeks, just based on the limited sample size we have, right? If that is the case, then if anything, a transfer for Caicedo is safer because you are getting 4 points off the bat.
I see your point. It's safer, but higher floor, lower ceiling,
Higher,
I guess.
higher floor, exactly, higher floor. We love
I
higher
would make
floors. We're
it,
all about floors.
yeah. I think I would do it if I've used up my wildcard. Then I know whatever transfer I make now will be for the long run. Then I'm okay with doing a transfer like Caicedo. If you have your wild card still, then you know it might be played in a few weeks' time. Then I will go for a higher ceiling player just to make the most of this next few weeks before then you go for the safe options, the DC monsters or whatever you want to call them.
I mean, you say that, Sam, and when he scores his next banger, I mean, he's playing Angus Forest. I can already see Ange trying to do some 6-4-0 formation and backing off. Ange has already sacrificed all his principles. Forest went super defensive in their last game. Still didn't get anything from it, but they're trying. And almost certainly, like, he's gonna get more space. Potential for assists, potential for goals, Sam. Something's gonna happen here, man.
I have to say though, Chelsea has really nice upcoming fixtures, right? Forest, Sunderland, Spurs, Wolves, Burnley in the next 5. So
Yeah.
that's one thing. And Chelsea is a big question mark, I think. You want to cover Chelsea a bit right now?
Well, we had some questions, but I think the important, I mean, the hype transfer this week, at least before he picked up that knock, was Enzo Fernandez, who did miss Argentina's second friendly. Although the articles I've read today suggest that he was always going to miss that friendly anyway, and it's more of a planned rest. So the assumption is that he will be fit for the weekend. Subject to getting further news on that. Enzo Fernandez, we've both liked him, but we've not committed to him. And I wonder if that's just because we keep thinking about Cole Palmer will be back soon, but it doesn't look like he's going to be back for a while. So maybe just commit to Enzo.
Yeah, I'm down with that. Yes, he doesn't get DC, so lower floor than Caicedo, but definitely higher ceiling. Underlying stats backs going Enzo over Caicedo, especially when Palmer's not on the field. Good fixtures coming up. If you want to make the most of Chelsea's fixtures, there is basically no one that you can get. Right? right? Like the options are kind of slim. Everyone has some kind of risk attached. So you have Caicedo, you have Enzo, who are traditionally like center midfielders. You don't expect a lot of points from them traditionally. Palmer's injured. João Pedro is not shooting, which is what you want from a striker. And then who else you got? um, the wingers are a mixture of injured and maybe not nailed. Esteval looks really good, I have to say, right?
They're not
I
nailed, but
think
he's not nailed.
yeah, but not nailed. Neto's still holding on to his spot despite not playing the best. So then who are you gonna get, right?
That's got to be Enzo because I mean, one thing we have learned from this season is you want 90-minute guys. You can't be wasting your time with guys who come off on 75 minutes. So no Garnacho, no Neto, no Gittins, no Esteval. I
Uh,
honestly think Enzo makes such sense as a pick, and I'm so tempted to do it this week because Enzo Fernandez, right? We're quite lucky he didn't haul against Liverpool because he hit the woodwork. He's basically just been camping in the box in most of these games. All of his goals are close range tap ins and stuff. And then he's also decided that he wants to take pens. I don't think he should take pens, if I'm being frank. Like, João Pedro is such a good pen taker, but Fernandez wants pens, and
you're saying
they're
that as
letting
a
him
João
take the
Pedro
pens.
owner.
Well, I sold João Pedro last week. I decided I'd had enough of João Pedro running around the pitch, doing nothing for 90 minutes, and I wanted to upgrade. And so I went and got Gyokeres, who also quite similar to João Pedro, running around for 90 minutes. So quite
At
happy
least
with myself.
he takes shots.
I mean, can you really? They're more like clearances in the direction of the opponent's goal. No, wait, no. They're clearances in the direction of the opponent's fans. Okay, that. So
Yeah. I hear you. Um, Enzo does look like the best pick currently. How I wish that Esteban would nail down a place because he's so exciting and electric as a player. But it's not happening right now. So yeah,
we
Enzo
had
it
some
is.
questions. So Enzo, yeah, I think Enzo stand out at his price range, right? And we had some questions about other midfielders, Kudus and Paqueta.
Hmm.
Now, let's start off with Paqueta because I think Paqueta's probably more accessible to people who have less funds. To be fair, next 3 out of the 4 for West Ham look really nice. Brentford, Leeds, Burnley. You get Paqueta on pens, and I don't think you can judge too much from the Arsenal game because they were always going to be defensive. But the first game that Nuno had against Everton, I thought Paqueta looked really good. Hit DEFCONs and also was just given a lot of freedom to basically just do what he needed to do. So at some point, at that price, on pens, nailed, should be decent for some returns.
I think both of them are, in terms of points potential, I think will end up very similar. Like Kudos, yes, he did get a haul last week, but generally it seems like his points were kind of trickled in over time. Right? That's what I experienced owning Kudos over the season. And same with Paqueta, I think. Paqueta does have pens, I guess, which is in his favor. Does he have pens? Or is
Yeah, he
Bowen
has
the
pens.
yeah. He has pens, right?
No, Paqueta has pens.
Yeah. So if I were to pick one, I'll go for Kudus because logic says that, the exciting winger should get more points. But logic fails you sometimes. I kind of like both. If I had to pick, I would go Kudus.
I'd go Paqueta. I mean, but I think that also just speaks more to who we are as players. Paqueta's really boring but safe. He gets DEFCONs. At least he seems to be getting DEFCONs under Nuno because he got DEFCONs in the first game. Second game came really close. And I like that because the Everton game was not your typical DEFCON game. You wouldn't think of, oh, Everton is an opponent, I'll get DEFCONs. But he did. Was 11 DEFCONs against Arsenal, so came close. Has the pens, nailed, plays 90 minutes. He's basically Bruno, right? Combined with the fact that he's kind of petulant and gets random yellow cards for no reason at all and complains and whines. So he's basically Bruno, but 4 million cheaper.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah, he's basically Bruno. A cheaper Bruno, I guess.
Yeah.
You know who I like in midfield? I'm looking to make a midfield transfer this week because I have Phil Foden, who has been extremely disappointing. He's going on my team this week. I don't care who they're playing. Does not matter to me. He's out of my team. So
Really?
I'm
You're
look
selling
yeah,
Foden?
I'm selling Foden this week.
Oh man. Not tempted to keep him, Everton? I mean, these are good fixtures.
No. Not tempted to keep in at all. I want Foden out of my team. I don't care who are they playing. They could be playing Burnley for all I care. Which they
Uh,
did 2 weeks ago, in which he had 0 XG. So if he can't do it against Burnley, what makes you think he's going to do it against Everton?
all right, fair, fair. So you are selling Phil Foden, Sam. Let me try and guess. Let me do some work here because knowing you, right, you're not gonna go for someone like Semenyo. Wait, do you have Semenyo?
I have some menu. Yeah,
Okay, so yeah, I was gonna say Semenyo is too boring for you, but even you have
you
sort of
have to succumb.
accepted. I respect that accept inevitability. You're not gonna go Salah; it's too expensive for you. You would never go that high. It's gonna be Saka, right? Surely.
I can't go Saka because I have tripled up on Arsenal
Wait.
with Gyokeres and my double fullbacks, which we can talk a bit for a while. I'm really excited and happy about this, and I feel that I don't know why no one has thought of it or why it's not more popular. I have both Timber and Calafiori.
It's not popular, mate, because Gabriel has decided that suddenly, after getting no DEFCONs the whole of last season, he's now a DEFCON monster and gets them every single week. That's why it's not popular.
It's not the def cons that are bringing his price up, it's the goals.
He got one goal, mate. So it's the DEFCONs. It is the DEFCONs. It's nothing else. I mean, Timber, I will grant you, excellent pick. And even Califury, not a bad pick. Like in a normal FPL season, Califury, solid pick. Like he's like a Danny Munoz, is what I would say. Solid
Mhm.
attacking pick. Could argue Califor is even better because it's much better defense. But unfortunately, and I tell you this as somebody who owns Munoz, the DEFCON thing has really screwed them over because they need to score these goals consistently. Califor takes a lot of sexy shots, but he needs to convert like a midfielder, like a forward, in order for him to beat out guys like Gabriel who just farm DEFCONs every week.
Maybe. That's I don't know. I mean, just because he hit it like 2 weeks, right? And the other weeks like 3 weeks throughout the season, so 3 out of 7, almost half. But in the other weeks, it's not that close either. Like against, I think games where Arsenal are leading, easy games, right? He won't be getting a lot, right? That's just the nature of it.
He hit
And they
DEFCONs
have,
against West Ham, brother.
yeah,
And
one of
West Ham
many.
had, let's look at how much, 0.49 XG. 4 shots the entire game, not a single one on target. I don't think that this. I mean, I don't know what the science is, and someone smarter than me can work it out. But Gabriel seems to be doing DefCons this season. You just need to accept that.
Okay, yeah. I'm definitely higher DEFCON potential than Calafiori and Timber. But I think the goals will bring them up, and the fact that Calafiori is cheaper. And I just feel it's more exciting to own both of their fullbacks.
Yeah, excitement. XC, and I'm not gonna dispute that. You got the excitement factor, Sam.
Yeah. So anyway, um, yeah, locked out of Arsenal assets unless I sell Gyokeres, which I can because I have 2 free transfers, so I could do it. But I just feel that if I sell Gyokeres this week, he's gonna get a pen and suck out. you know,
What you think, Mister? I decided that I take the pens now is gonna suddenly be so generous and just give them over because I was livid when I saw Saka stepping up because I bought Gyokeres last week and I was so relaxed. I saw the pen being ordered. I was like, okay, I've got my haul. I can just take a nap now. And Saka grabbed the ball and basically just told Gyokeres to sit down. And he, in the interview after the game, he just said, I wanted to take it. They asked him, like, was there any question? He's like, no, I felt like taking it, so I took it. Which tells you that Gyokeres is Saka's bitch. Okay? Like, how do you get signed for 70 million? How do you not have the balls to stand up to this guy and say, no, man, I'm the forward, I'm taking this?
But there was, I don't know, there's a theory online that it was Saka's what was it, 200 game or
Yeah,
something.
yeah,
It's like a
200
special
games. So he wanted
milestone
like
for
his
Saka.
100th goal and assist, whatever
Yeah.
goal contribution. I mean, it is, Roy Keane somewhere is looking down and shaking his head, man. What kind of forward do you have who
No,
can't
but
stand
then
up for
didn't they
himself?
have a period where they were sharing pens like between Saka and Odegaard?
No, it was a period where Saka was donating pens, and that's again what I'm really worried about because it means that it's Saka's call, and so I mean, if you're Bukayo Saka, do you really feel like donating pens after this? The issue is that Gyokeres' only pen this season was when Saka wasn't on the pitch. And the
Yeah.
assumption that we all had was Gyokeres was on pen simply because Arteta kind of said, yeah, he's great on pens. But Arteta, I mean, he's insane. He lies all the time. He hires snatch thieves to test Arsenal's reflexes and stuff like that. He's crazy. Okay, so that's Arteta. And the only other source is some rando Swedish journalist whose comment was then translated by some rando Swedish FPL account, and then we all just sort of, oh yeah, it's got to be right, man. Like, I mean, okay, maybe your crush takes the next pen, sure, but Sam, in your position, and I'm thinking about it without two free transfers. Honestly, like in your position, you get rid of your crush now and you get Saka in. Like this is the most obvious transfer you will ever make. You get Saka, he's in form, scored for England, right? And it's classic Saka goal, cuts inside, left shot, nobody's stopping him. So he's in the zone. Arsenal fixtures are amazing, right? Who do Arsenal play? Fulham, Palace, Burnley, Sunderland, Spurs, Chelsea. I mean, Saka scoring in these games, right? You have no incentive. Anybody with two free transfers who owns Gyokeres, if you're still keeping Gyokeres at the end of this week, I mean, you're a stronger man than me, man. I respect that because I would not have your willpower.
Okay. I mean, I am strongly considering it. I'm not saying I'm not. There's I think the problem with two free transfers is that it gives you so much flexibility that you spend a lot of time just thinking about all the possible transfers that you can make.
I would kill for two free transfers to get rid of Gyokeres, man, and get Saka in this week. I'm tempted to do it for a hit. I don't know how you've been able to stop yourself from doing it immediately. I was tempted to do it the moment the game ended against West Ham.
I think the reason why I haven't, it's not top of my list is because there's another midfielder that I really want to get, possibly more than Saka. Fixtures aside, right? Like, because right now, looking at the fixtures, maybe that might push Saka over him in my mind. But it's Sar, who we talked about earlier on. Like stats were great, and then he got injured, came back, and still returning every game.
Okay, I like that. I like Ismail Assar. Okay, I did not. I sort of I forgot about him, but he's been returning consistently.
Yeah,
Scored
and
also
Palace,
during the break.
correct. Palace are doing great as well. Like they're playing well. Mateta not giving the returns, I think that most of his owners want, but you can kind of feel it coming, right? Debut for France and everything, had a whole story. Got Zaha upset because he dragged Zaha's name and stuff like that. But Sar looks like the in to Crystal Palace's attack. So, I wanted him, and then he got injured, and then when he came back, I thought, let me see how he does. Came out flying.
I don't mind Ismail Assar. I mean, he's obviously in a different price bracket to Saka, so you can't expect the same sort of returns. But
But that's the
yeah, these are
thing,
good
bro.
fixtures.
Yeah. He may be different bracket, but even just price aside, looking at them right now, in terms of form and everything, like I would argue that Sa might be a more attractive asset than Saka at the moment.
Ooh, that's a very big call, Sam.
The
Mm,
problem is the fixtures are not the best for the next two, right? I mean, so they're playing Bournemouth, who are also very solid this season at the back, right? Although Palace seem to be able to score against anyone, but still tough fixture. And then Arsenal away, very tough fixture, maybe the toughest fixture you can have in the league. After that, it gets better. So maybe it's not the point to jump on right now. But at the same time, the way Palace are playing, you won't be surprised if they get a goal in these next two games.
Yeah. If I were in your situation, I would definitely do Saka first and then go back to Sa in game week 10. Like I own Mateta and I will be stunned if I get anything out of these next 2 weeks, even if he has spent the last 14 days learning how to shoot from Mbappe. I hope. Uh, I don't expect much returns.
Okay, then the next question is, Siva. Let's move there. Since you're saying let's sell Gyokeres, bring in Saka in the midfield. Who do you replace Gyokeres with?
I mean, to be honest with you, I think I'd be happier owning Mark Yu than Gyokeres at this point. But let me try and take you seriously and sort of move up. I mean, the easy answer is Walter Made, honestly. And I'm really, again, really annoyed I didn't do this because I had that option last week and I went Gyokeres instead of Walter Made. Now you got to ignore the pen because he's not on pens, although that was one of the best pens I've ever seen in my life. Plants it roof. I mean, Matzels could have jumped. He could have been standing where the ball went. He still wasn't going to save it. And I was trolled by all these tacticos and nerds and Tifo and whoever it is that Walter Mata can't head the ball. He's a number 10. He likes it to feet. What BS, man? He's scoring headed goals every single week. He scored a headed goal for Germany. He's tall and people don't seem to be able to beat him at corners and set pieces. So I mean,
I think
he just
I,
looks great.
I think the stat is that he did not score a headed goal the entire season
Yet
before he
one
moved
the whole of
at
last season.
one, right? And then he moved to Newcastle, and Eddie Howe's like, "You're pretty tall," and he's, "Oh yeah, I am." And that's
Do
when
they
he
just
started
not cross
using.
the ball in Germany or something? Is it all like tiki taka? Nobody thought, hey, we could just actually just cross it to this really tall guy. He's
Yeah,
7 foot tall. You can't teach that. I mean, you'll just hit the ball.
but yeah, Waldemar is a nice, interesting pick. I think if I had to pick a forward to bring in this week, it would be either Walter Made or Jared Bowen.
Okay,
Good
so we did have a question
old
about Jabon.
reliable Jared Bowen, still a differential. He just gets one goal, but one goal and 3 bonus points, and that's 9 points. Very reminiscent of old Raul Jimenez for all you older FPL enthusiasts, right?
Even is not that
Uh,
old, mate. He's
no, but is it, what? How long ago was that season? The honest
I
worker
mean,
Jimenez season.
you're talking about Wolves, Raul Jimenez. But Sam, let me ask you this,
Yeah.
right? Because you're thinking about Jared Bowen, and I see a lot of people hyping Jared Bowen, and I'm also interested in Jared Bowen, right? But a couple of things, right? First of all, we don't know if he's going to play up top. Now, Fulkrug did pick up an injury because he's old, and I don't know why they spent that much money on somebody who's 32 years old. But even so, it doesn't mean that Bowen's going to start up front. He's been playing on the right so far, and they do have a very dependable option in Callum Wilson and
Also very
some.
old, very famously injury prone Callum
I mean,
Wilson.
whoever is doing West Ham's transfer policy is just having a laugh. But Jared Bowen has got small sample size, but has got 3 goals from 0.8 xg. Okay, so questions about whether he can keep that up. And I mean, do you really want to spend almost 8 million on an attacker who plays for West Ham? Because I can get on board with the Paqueta signing because Paqueta is kind of cheap, but almost 8 million for a West Ham guy who's not really playing up top. I mean, usually we like OOP players, but this is, poo, I think is the general sort of term we use for guys who are not even playing in the position you want them to be.
It
Right
depends.
midfielder,
Right?
classified
I,
as a
I
striker.
saw I saw a to digress a bit. I saw a stats post somewhere on Reddit, and someone did the analysis on midfielders versus forwards. Who gets more bonus points? And from like he scout through the data of the past few seasons, and the numbers show that if they're only going to score one goal in a match, the forward will always outscore the midfielder. Despite having less points, they almost always get bonus points, 2 or 3, if it's just one goal. But if it's 2 goals, the midfielder almost always gets the bonus points, and then they end up outscoring a forward. So, you know, in an attack like this where, he's not gonna score big, like West Ham just not that kind of team right now. One goal in it, Bowen being a forward may end up being to his advantage. That's what I'm saying. More bonus
All right,
points
all
throughout
right.
the season. So I don't think that is a slight against him. Now, whether he can continue his scoring, with low XG and things like that, that's a different question. And yeah, I think it's a fair question. I just think Jared Bowen has the pedigree, right? Like he's shown us that he can do it season in, season out, even when West Ham were not at their best, right? I mean, he finished with close to 200 points last season, and West Ham were not good last season. So I think over the long run, like Bowen tends to, tends to show his pedigree, and the points will come.
All right. So I think that's all fair. And I've heard that quite a bit on a lot of the content that I occasionally dip into. Yeah, Jarbon, safe, sensible. He's going to get 200 points by the end of the season, usually thereabouts. So safe pick. But I wonder, right? Because again, that's also, we don't know the effect of Nuno on West Ham. We've only had the 2 games. We assume defensive solidity is the priority and then only the attack. And don't know if Jarbon's going to be the next Chris Wood or not, right? Would you rather not just have Walter Mata, who's cheaper, arguably playing for a better team? And I would say that the next 4 fixtures look much better for Walter Mata. And you know that Vissa's not back until at least the next international break and probably won't be breaking into the team anytime soon anyway.
I see your point. I think the number one thing is that you want to get if you're comparing two players, you want to get the one who plays for a better team, right?
I mean, not always, because obviously that's not really how FPL always pans out, right? I mean, but still, I just wonder, like, not tempt. I don't know whether we are sort of reading too much into Walter Mata's early start. He's going to fizzle out soon, but it does feel like these are really decent fixtures and a starting forward for Newcastle at 7.2. Like if someone gave you that last season, you'd snap their hand off. We owned Callum Wilson when he was starting every week. Why are we not going for Walter Mata?
Yeah, I think it's fair point. Both Bowen and Walter Mada have good things going on with them. Just gut feeling, I'm loyal to Bowen, maybe from the seasons past. Maybe there's a bit of biasness there. Also, he's pretty much the talisman of West Ham, which, if you believe in the talisman theory, which I strongly do, I feel that makes him a better pick than Walter Mada.
Okay. Fair. I mean, talisman theory, I can't disagree with you there. And definitely Walter Mata won't be Newcastle's talisman. And to be fair to your bonus point, Walter Mata didn't even get bonus for the goal he scored last week. So maybe there is something in that. Whereas I think Bowen, Pedro, generally Richarlison, they all seem to be generally very high for baseline bonus. And so those kind of guys, Bowen being the only one who's truly nailed for 90 minutes, like you say, gets a goal, usually good for bonus. Let's sort of sticking around Newcastle, Sam, because we had some questions here about defense. And you did, circling back, right? You mentioned you're very happy with the Calafiori and Timber. And I think we both agree double Arsenal defense, even if you aren't going with the fullbacks like you have. Double Arsenal defense just makes sense, right? So
Yeah.
what do you think about so double Arsenal defense, no brainer. Very annoyed that I didn't just do that instead of getting bloody Gyokeres. But what do you do with Newcastle? Because second best defense in the league for XG conceded after Arsenal, it's Newcastle. Looked really solid, and they're going into a run of decent fixtures. So if you can't, for whatever reason, funds are tight, maybe you can't get to Gabriel. Dan Burn, no brainer.
Yeah, I have Denver. Very happy with Denver. He got an assist somehow last week.
Could not believe that.
Ended up with 11 points. Like, I was overjoyed. Um, so yeah, there is some talk online that his DC potential is less because he probably has to cover on left back this coming week with Livramento injured and Hall. But I think just generally in the long run, like Burns a solid option. He probably will not be dropped because Howe loves him. So I'm happy with Dan Burn.
Yeah, they don't seem to be a very DEFCON heavy defense. Maybe it's just a stylistic thing, right? Burn had only 4 last week. Botman had 7. So maybe Malik Teo had 6. Yeah, so it's not a DEFCON thing. But I mean, you guess kind of get what you pay for, right? Dan Burn's only what, 5.1
Yeah.
right now? Yeah.
Yes, there are people saying you should go for maybe Botman or Malik Tiao.
Malik Teo,
Teo? Okay.
Malik. Uh, it's
Yeah,
amazing how the last name is the one that throwing us off here. But yeah, no, I mean,
but like
also
you said, I
Kevin Shah
think
still exists, right?
yeah, DefCons are just not a big thing for maybe style, like you said, but just not a big thing for Newcastle. So I'm happy with that. But I think it's the safe pick. And then with I
Yeah.
actually even considering doubling up with Pope as keeper. Like I said, when you have 2 chances, you think about a lot of the combinations. There are too many combinations. I even thought of replacing my keeper, bring Pope in.
A goalkeeper transfer, Sam, would be the most boring thing you can do. But yeah, I mean, you do things differently, Sam. So I'm not gonna argue with that. Now, I will jump ahead because we've been talking for quite a while, and we had a question up from FPL Hafiz about a wildcard draft, and I think it's valid. So I dipped into the lab, Sam, and you can sort of have a look at this because you're a fairly critical person. But I tried to sort of what would Sam do, try to
Oh,
think outside the box. And I
ah,
think I have come up with something that even you, Sam, would say sexy, but you can see that there's a lot of common sense here. Pope, as you mentioned, and Dubravka. Burn, so there's your double Newcastle defense. Timber and Gabriel, double Arsenal defense. Senesi and Chris Richards. I think Chris Richards on a wildcard, no brainer. He's getting DEFCONs at the same rate as Lacroix, but he's cheaper. So just get Chris Richards. Don't waste your money. I don't think Mark Gahey's going to get getting these assists every single game, although stand to be proven wrong. Senesi, no brainer. Semenyo, you don't need to say anything. Enzo, we discussed a lot. Saka, okay. Xhaka, again. Now Josh King, he's just gonna sit on the bench for the whole season. Mark Yu sits on the bench. Doesn't have to be Mark Yu. You could pick Obi from United. I don't think you'll ever reach a situation where you need 3 Man United players. And if you do, I suggest that you've gone crazy or you're playing anti FPL. So 4.3 million forward is sorted there. And Haaland and Isaac. Now the only like this is such a boring team. But the only thing that's even worth discussing here is Isaac. And I only picked Isaac just because I had the money. And so this is one of those probably could have gone cheaper to Walter Mata or maybe even Jared Bowen, as you said. But I didn't know where to spend the extra cash. So why not get Alexander Isaac? Because I'm not starting. Yeah, you could get Jared Bowen and then upgrade Xhaka to somebody more sexy, I suppose.
yeah, good draft. I like it. It's very close to my team, right? So if you said, you tried to think what would Sam do, like that covers almost everything.
Yeah, it's annoyingly close, I must say. But yeah, so I need to start using some process to get to this team, which is gonna take me a while.
Yeah, we discussed everything. Isak, I think Isak will come good. Like I'm happy to hold on to Isak, especially since everyone else in Liverpool is doing badly anyway. So it's not many. There's not much FOMO going around with Liverpool assets.
Let's talk about Liverpool for a bit, right? Because we had questions here about whether you should keep Salah or sell Salah. Let's start off with Isaac, right? For people who own or want to go there, I think he's a great pick. I think the minutes should be less of a concern now because he's had the preseason sort of. He's had minutes over the international break. So I don't see a reason why he shouldn't be playing consistently. And for all the problems against Chelsea in that game, I thought he was probably their best player, if not at least their best attacker. Did really well to set up the goal for Gakpo. So I think Isaac going forward is great. And if you look at Liverpool's fixtures, now, no matter how bad they've been so far, these are still great fixtures. Okay, they play the worst team in the Premier League this week. Then they play Brentford, Villa, Man City's tough. Then Forest, the West Ham. These are good fixtures, and I think Arne Slot you can trust is gonna figure this out.
Yeah, like I said, I'm happy with Isak. I think they will figure each other out. I think that's the main issue right now, right? Like the gelling in so many players trying to force words into the system, maybe as well. Akitike was there, Isak is there. So yeah, I think it will come good, and their fixtures are good enough that it's okay to just hold on and see how it goes.
So on a wildcard, Sam, you'd have Isaac, I take it. Would you
Yeah.
have Mamadashvili,
No,
4.3 million keeper? Not tempted? No.
they're not keeping clean sheets anyway.
I mean, I think Chelsea is a bit different from playing United and Brentford and Villa, mate.
How many clean sheets has Liverpool kept this season?
You, you can't look at the past, mate. You got to look at the future.
No, but you can. But you can look at the past, Siva. Like that's what stats is for. Stats is basically looking at the past.
But I think
No, but underlying numbers as well, they're not at their best defensively, right? So yes, he's cheap and playing for a good team, but I don't think any of us are really that strapped for cash. And I would rather just pay more and get a keeper from a team who I have much higher confidence that they will keep a clean sheet, like Arsenal or Newcastle.
yeah, I mean, I can't argue against that. I think if you want to pay the extra to get Pope, and also just because Mamadashvili will be a transfer out, so especially on a chip, that's gonna annoy you when Allison does come back. Let's talk about this guy because this guy is really doing my head in, Sam. Okay, so Mo Salah, right? Now you got to be happy about this because you obviously made the call very early on. You haven't owned Salah all season. Fair play. I made the very now seeming very questionable, but at the time I thought I was seeing the light. I had Salah and Haaland, and so thankfully Haaland good. Salah on the other hand, Sam could single-handedly ruin my season. Now all the stats are down, right? You can see it on the screen. Everything is down, but that's Liverpool as a whole. I had some chances against Chelsea, send them all into rosy. Now, I don't understand it because he's been scoring in the international break. Okay, sure, it's Djibouti, but I mean, he's not like as if he's forgotten how to score goals. It's not like as if he's not fit. He's playing the same minutes he's always played. So is it just that he's washed and I just need to sell, or can I wait another week?
It's a tough one, Siva. But I think with the fixtures they have, I mean, it's not bad, but it's not great either, right? I would say it's really kind of middle of the pack because you got City in the middle there, United, which despite how United is, it's a big fixture, right? It's tough. I'm Of course, if I were to bring in my own personal bias in, I would say sell him, Siva. Like you should never have had him in the first place. Sell. But if someone paid me money to give them good FPL advice, I'm not sure if I can say that in good faith, because he
That's
is.
the thing, right? Because like common sense almost feels like he's got to turn this around. It can't. But is it just the case? Like there's this quote from I think it's Revenge of the Sith. Where Anakin realizes that all stars die at one point. Like Obi-Wan tells him, even stars burn out, and maybe this is just brother's getting old, and maybe we're just here because I owned Cristiano Ronaldo the last time he was in FPL, and I made the same mistake. Maybe I'm too invested in the aura, and brother's finished. Maybe he's going to be playing for Al Hilal by December, and I'll still be owning him.
Yeah, I I think it's really tough to call. Like we always say, last season is the last season, right? Like you have to look to the new, like you said, Siva. That's all in the past. That's what you said, right? So using that
I'm just
logic,
quoting movies, man. I was just quoting Lion King.
using that logic, we should be looking at the stats we have now this season, right? Without bringing like his past accomplishments into our thinking. But it's more Salah, right? Like the best that's ever done in FPL, you know? for how many years? Can we just disregard him just like that because the stats are not so good? The whole team, right? It could be just a symptom of the team, right? And once the team clicks, maybe, the returns will start coming for Mo Salah as well. It's really tough to call. I think, though, personally, sell him.
Yeah, man. It's difficult, right? Because I mean, I keep trying. I've been running around this, and so anyone else who owns Salah, and this is, to be fair, a very small number. So the people listening to this, by and large, don't have him. And I think you know this, Sam. My weakness is I tend to look at these kind of stats, right? And expected goal scorers every week, and Salah's always near the top. And this week he's second behind Haaland. And I've seen Salah's record against United, and I generally don't care about that. Past records to me should not matter, right? But this is generally, like, generationally one of the worst Man United teams ever. And can I really sell Mo Salah at home, Anfield? He's had an international break. He's gone back to Egypt. He's in the zone. He's rested. He's zen. He's playing. He's gonna play Diogo Dalot and Luke Shaw. Okay, and if you think Mo Salah's finished, Luke Shaw is whatever comes after finish, like, should be retired already. And Diogo Dalot, who's not a wing back, how can I possibly live with myself when Salah scores this hat trick? And then I'm just like, oh, well, I thought that the greatest who's ever done it before is gone.
Yeah. What else is there to add, Siva? Right? The risk with Salah feels high. I would say sell because it feels just a lot more fun when you're not when you don't lock in like 50% of your budget on two players.
Yeah, I mean that's fair. I mean, he's definitely not somebody, like, if I go back and do my wildcard, I wouldn't have him now. But I for those who own Salah, like, I don't think I will sell this week. Unless, like, maybe have a couple too many drinks tomorrow or something like that before deadline. Like, I can't see a world in which I go through with this, because it just feels, something about it feels wrong. It's a home game. It is, one of the worst teams in the league. I don't think there's any disputing that. No matter how good United were against Sunderland, like, that's where Ruben Amorim cooks promoted teams. He can do that. Like, this is a proper fixture, and I don't think I can sell Salah this week. Now, if he blanks again this week, then I'll have a strong word with myself. But I feel like I will give him that one last chance.
I have no doubt Liverpool will win the match. But will Salah be the one who hauls? That's what I'm not sure.
Yeah, we'll find out soon enough, Sam. But we did have one last question. We should wrap up on this, Sam. And we had a question here from FPL Bagos, loyal listener to the pod. I'm tired and bored of all these Haaland captaincies. Give me something, make me feel something again. It's basically, I'm sort of paraphrasing, but you get the gist, Sam. And I told him it's okay. Sam's got this, because Sam, you obviously had Haaland since gaming one, so fair play to you, Sam. But obviously, unfortunately for you, now we all own him, so you're not going to captain Haaland. I know you. You're too. You're too. That's just too boring for you. So who has Sam landed on this week?
So this is the hard one, right? Because I really, really looked. Siva, I looked at everyone's fixtures. There is no one. There is no one who you can captain and reasonably expect them to outscore Haaland at home, where he's been doing the business. I mean, he's been doing the business away, but at home, he's been insane this season, right?
I mean, this is a guy who's single-handedly taking Norway to a World Cup, their first World Cup since 1998, mate. So
yeah, I thought, like, even if Italy had one more game and were level on points, they would need like 30 goals or something just
16
to match
goals.
16 goals. Yeah, goal difference is insane. Anyway, I looked. The closest I can maybe feel good on is an Arsenal asset, and then again, they're also playing away. Fulham's not been good this season, so I mean, there's a chance, right? But then who are you gonna go? Are you gonna go for a Liverpool player against United? none of them really stand out, right? Even Mo Salah, like you say, we have so much doubts about him. Who else are you gonna go? Semenyo, maybe exciting, but at the same time, I do have a thing against captaining people who are very highly owned, and Semenyo's like 60% owned.
Yeah. In a way, I mean, Palace doesn't feel like away Palace doesn't feel like a massive haul.
Yeah,
I mean, you could go with an Arsenal player because Fulham, as you say, right? They've not been great, and Craven Cottage, not exactly a fortress. I mean, it's literally a cottage. So I would think that that is a decent game for you to target.
so I have this is the spiciest pick I can think of that still feels kinda reasonable, right? And it's Jurgen Timber.
Ooh.
Because you can quite reasonably expect Arsenal to keep a clean. High attacking potential, bonus, haul potential is there, definitely.
Now that's a Sam pick. You're in Timber captain. Nobody's going there this week, which is crazy because everybody wants Timber this week. I guarantee you, like people who don't have him will be taking chances to get him. Um, but nobody's going to captain him. Oh, I like that, Sam. I like
The
that.
defender with the highest ceiling right now, I think. Right? Like based on what we've seen in this first 7 weeks of the season. But even then, Siva, that might be a bit too much for me. If it wasn't that Haaland is such a monster right now, right? Like I would maybe go there. But it just seems really unwise to bet against Haaland at home. Against Everton who don't even have their best player, right? They can't play Jack Grealish.
Good point. Good point. Actually, we did not discuss that. Yeah, Everton without Grealish. That's gotta hurt. I mean, obviously it's not an attacking uh, issue, but I mean, just not having that work rate, I think, yeah, could be a problem.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
And I
you
think I
you
got off lucky not captaining Haaland last week when he came back with only one paltry goal and 8 points.
That's true, and it was a heck of a goal, man. Man just manhandled and wrestled Vandenberg to the floor. Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, I think captaincy is not even up for discussion until game week 11, maybe, and even then, you Liverpool, if they defend the way they've been defending so far, probably not a issue.
Yeah.
Game week 12, City play Newcastle away. Then we can talk about
I would
captaincy.
be more confident not captaining him if it was an away game, right? Not saying that he won't score, but I'm just hoping that it'll just be one goal, and hopefully the person I captain gets 2 goals or something like that. Like that's the kind of odds that you gotta play with Haaland this season.
Yeah, and he was rested for Norway's second game, so he's already like, he's recharged. He's been in the cryogenic chamber or whatever, so he's ready to go. So yeah, nah, I mean, I like the Timber shout though. It's nice for people who wanna feel something. Fair enough.
Yeah.
I think that kind of wraps us up this week, Sam. Anything
Yep.
else?
No, and we've actually hit 1 hour surprisingly in this intentional break. Like before recording this, I was just complaining to Siva that there doesn't seem to have a lot of topics to talk about this week, but yet, FPL does this to us, right? We end up sitting for hours and hours just naming players.
Yeah, and I saw some comments like I'm done consuming FPL content. It's all this the same thing. I mean, where else are you gonna find two people chatting about why Mo Salah might be washed for 15 minutes, having discussed Cape Verde making the World Cup and Malaysia getting banned from international football? You're only gonna get that kind of insight here, I mean. But in the meantime, Sam.
Get your green arrows, guys, and we'll see you next week.